Hello to you, and thank you so much for joining us here. I'm Neda Iranpour. Here at CBS 8, we are working for you. We're getting to the bottom of problems you've asked us about, and we're looking for solutions. We want to begin here with the cost of living in San Diego, something that impacts all of us and what you're getting for your money. New numbers are showing the apartments that many of you are renting are getting smaller. Rent Cafe just published a report showing while the average apartment size is growing in other parts of the United States, here in San Diego, it's doing the opposite. CBS 8's Shannon Handy working for you and shows us how San Diego compares to other cities.
We're seeing a lot of new housing units being built in San Diego. According to this new study, they're smaller compared to 10 years ago by an average of 132 square feet. No matter where you are in San Diego, it's not hard to find new developments being built. That's especially true in urban areas where experts say there's high demand yet limited space.
Everybody is building up. They're not building out because there's no land. You've also got the cost of construction material.
Doug Ressler is with Yardi Matrix. The company is behind a new study published by apartment search website Rent Cafe that shows while the average apartment size in the United States increased last year, San Diego registered the 8th largest drop, with new rentals averaging 827 square feet, down 132 square feet compared to a decade ago. That's a 16% decrease. Ressler says one of the reasons developers are choosing busy areas where space is limited is because that's where new renters want to live.
The 19 through 24-year-olds want to live in a much more vibrant urban core society as opposed to the millennials who are starting families and really look more outbound into the suburbs. So what you see is a trend in the demographic.
During the heart of the pandemic, it was the opposite. People were moving away from those places in search of more space. And new renters aren't looking for 2 bedrooms anymore. According to the data, developers are focusing more on studios and 1-bedroom apartments, the construction of which is what's bringing the overall average size of units here down.
What you see now is people, especially in San Diego, that have lifestyle. Hey, I don't want to live in my apartment full time. There's an ocean out there. There's bike paths out there. I've got a lifestyle that I want to enjoy.
Cities that saw a bigger decline in apartment size include Fort Myers, Florida, and Memphis, Tennessee. Arlington, Texas took the top spot. Rankings were based on the top 100 U.S. cities with the largest stock of apartments in buildings of 50 units or more. Coincidentally, as San Diego apartment sizes shrink, the city is looking at changing certain codes to encourage bigger apartments for families who can't afford a home.
They're trying to balance the predominance of studios and 1-bedrooms with larger unit configurations because millennials, which have started families or older renters, are renting longer. They can't either find the home or afford the home.
Shannon Handy, CBS 8.
Yeah, major struggle here. San Diego County says it is ahead of schedule in meeting state housing goals. The county shared its 2024 housing report with the Board of Supervisors this past week. And in it, it says it's 84% of the way towards meeting its goal of adding 6,700 housing units between 2021 through 2029. But despite that trend, there was an 11% drop in completed housing permits compared to 2023. And a 24% drop in new completed homes. San Diego City Council unanimously approved lowering the speed limit on some pretty popular San Diego streets. This will apply to designated business activity districts in neighborhoods like North Park and Hillcrest. The speed limit would be lowered to 20 miles an hour from 25 miles an hour on these streets, aligning San Diego's speed limits more closely with a new state law, that law, AB 3. And the goal here is to reduce crashes and improve pedestrian safety in high traffic areas.
That will save lives, make our streets safer for pedestrians and bicyclists, and it will apply to a number of our business activity districts where we see a lot of pedestrians and bicyclists and unfortunately too many accidents.
That was Councilmember Stephen Whitburn there. City Council says the changes reflect extensive community input from many residents, traffic safety advocates, and business owners who identified where low speed limits could improve people's safety. Right now, we are looking into new data from the San Diego Police Department, and it shows Black people in the city of San Diego are arrested at a much higher rate than white people. CBS 8's David Godferson working for you and digs into these numbers.
The arrest data is important, but it's one piece of the puzzle.
The disparity between the arrests of black and white people in the city of San Diego is nothing new. Deepak Prekmar, a criminal justice researcher with the Public Policy Institute of California, focuses on why the inequity exists in the first place.
One is differences in offending rates, differences in structural factors, differences in poverty, differences in communities where racial groups reside.
New data shows for the past 3 years, black people have been 7 times more likely to be arrested than white people in the city of San Diego. Last year, the black population in San Diego was 5.7%, while 26% of SDPD arrests were black people. The white population 50%, while 30% of SDPD arrests were white people. In a statement, SDPD said, black residents are disproportionately represented among San Diego's homeless population, which contributes to disparities in contact. Similarly, black residents make up nearly 17% of violent crime victims and 27% of suspects. Our efforts to prevent and respond to violent crime, especially in neighborhoods most impacted, can result in more frequent contact with those communities.
This is all a part of what I call propaganda.
Community justice advocate Genevieve Jones-Wright says the reason southeastern San Diego communities are impacted is because of racial bias by some officers.
What we're seeing is disparities that are being fueled by racialized undertones, discrimination, stereotypes, and historic inequality that now has a place in our modern-day policing.
San Diego police say the department has made significant investments in academy training to address bias and policing in diverse communities. At SDPD headquarters, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Overall, the crime rate is down in the city of San Diego. Coming up, we're going to show you how safety is improving and where crime is getting worse. Plus, we verify if President Trump can, in fact, serve a third term, what the Constitution says, and the scenario that may open the door. Welcome back here. The San Diego City Council moving forward with plans to open a new safe parking site at H Barracks. This is right near the airport. Council members approved a new 1-year contract with Jewish Family Service to continue operations at the city's 3 existing safe parking sites, plus this new H Barracks lot near downtown. That site will have 190 new overnight parking spaces on top of the existing 200 spots all across the city. H Barracks will also have room for RVs. City leaders expect to have this new lot open by next month. There are new statistics showing overall that crime is down in the city of San Diego. The mayor and chief of police saying it proves the city is one of the safest in the nation. CBS 8's David Gottfredson takes a closer look at which crimes are down and where crime rates are going up.
2024 marked the 3rd year that San Diego saw a decrease in our crime.
All good news from San Diego's chief of police and mayor, presenting the city's 2024 crime numbers Tuesday morning for reporters.
Homicides were down nearly 20%. Shootings dropped by 30%. Robberies and sexual assaults fell by close to 11% each. And motor vehicle thefts declined by 20%.
They attributed the crime drop to good policing.
That is not by luck. That is not by happenstance. It is a decision that we have made as mayor, as police chief, and as a community that lawlessness will not rule the day in America's finest city.
We have top-tier policing.
Police Chief Scott Wall presented the same news to the city council late Tuesday afternoon.
So I want to congratulate you and your whole department on keeping San Diego the safest, largest city in the nation.
In fact, crime numbers are down across California and nationwide.
We're certainly seeing, at least statewide, that the crime indicators are suggesting declines.
And the reasons why are complicated, according to the nonpartisan Public Policy Institute of California.
It's hard to draw any definitive conclusions about any particular policies.
On the upside, hate crimes are down 9% in the city of San Diego, and prostitution was down last year nearly 16% due to increased enforcement. Other crimes were up last year. Larceny, mainly due to shoplifting, up nearly 12%. Drug offenses up nearly 20%. Kidnappings and abductions up 17%. 2 of the city council districts saw an overall increase in crime last year. District 3, an increase of 5.6% overall, and District 2, an increase of 2.4%. These crime numbers are coming in while the city is in the middle of budget negotiations, and they're considering the possible closure of the police department's Northwestern Division in Carmel Valley. That's in District 1, where the overall crime rate is about the same as last year. At City Hall, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
President Donald Trump is about 100 days into his second term, but recent comments about another Trump presidential run are raising some questions. Megan Molaris with our Verify team digs into the constitutional issues surrounding his remarks.
Donald Trump is making history as the first U.S. president since Grover Cleveland to serve non-consecutive terms. Could he also be the first since President Franklin Roosevelt to serve a third? In March, President Trump said he's not joking about a third term, claiming there are methods by which to do it. Let's verify. Our sources are the 22nd and 12th Amendments and Elon poll director Jason Husser. The answer is no constitutionally, with 2 possible caveats, succession and another amendment. The 22nd Amendment limits the presidency to no more than 2 total terms, plus a half term if the VP ascends into the presidency and later runs for office. What about vice versa?
Vice President Vance became president in 2028, and then President Trump became vice president, and then President Vance stepped down. That is an untested mechanism. The question on my mind is, could they get into that vice president role to begin with?
The 12th Amendment says no one ineligible for president can be vice president. Changing either amendment would require 2/3 majority in both the U.S. House and Senate and ratification by 3/4 of state legislatures.
While President Trump won handily throughout the election, he won nowhere close enough votes to have the level of support needed for a constitutional amendment. Never say never. If all of a sudden, President Trump invents the cure for cancer, then all of a sudden maybe people change their minds.
In the case of a succession amendment or both, it would be up to the Supreme Court to interpret what's legal. With your Verify, I'm Megan Molaris.
Collections on defaulted student loans resume next month. Coming up, what you need to know if you have federal student loans out. Welcome back. Millions of Americans could find themselves unable to get through airport security in less than 2 weeks. That's if you don't have a real ID. Enforcement will begin starting Wednesday, May 7th. So remember that date. But a CBS News data analysis finds in 30 states, less than 70% of eligible residents have a real ID. In 17 states, that number is less than half. Congress mandated the more secure identification nearly 20 years ago in the wake of 9/11 attacks. Those who do not have a real ID, that's the one with the star in the right corner there, you may not be able to enter some government buildings or get through airport security checkpoints starting May 7th.
Don't have to travel May 7th, May 8th, or May 9th. I would encourage you not to. If people are missing flights, airlines are concerned about how do they reaccommodate those people to get them where they're going as quickly as they can.
Oh, yeah, it could affect people's ability to get on their planes. You can still fly after May 7th, of course, if you have another federally approved document. So if you are flying at May 7th and beyond, you need your passport or a military ID if you don't have that real ID. If you don't have one, still plan to fly, the TSA says you need to be at the airport at least 3 hours early. It won't be as easy. For more than 5 years, federal student loans, even those in default, have not been sent to collections. But that is about to change. This is a major change coming. The Trump administration says the collection process will officially restart next month, so by May. CBS 8's Alex Lai working for you and shares what borrowers need to know.
If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's very simple. President Trump will not kick the can down the road anymore.
The Trump administration is cracking down on student loan payments starting May 5th.
Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections.
This includes collections of tax refunds, federal salaries, and Social Security benefits. After a 30-day notice, the department will also begin garnishing wages. So if you are a student loan borrower, there's a few things you should do right now. Working for you, we spoke with Selena Damian with the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. She says to first visit studentaid.gov to check if you are in default.
Just because you're on a $0 payment, because you're on a forbearance, doesn't mean that you're in default, so don't panic.
Damian says people in default will get a message from the Department of Education on how to proceed. There are 2 options to get out of default that you can enroll in before May 5th. One, loan rehabilitation, which is making 9 on-time monthly payments within a 10-month period. The other, loan consolidation.
Consolidation is basically your, refinancing your defaulted loans into a new direct consolidation loan.
Then you can find a repayment plan that works for you.
They can get on an income-based plan, and if they're like a lower to moderate income earner, they may have a monthly payment where they're at a $0 payment, but still be in good standing and in repayment.
And that was Alex Lai reporting, working for your money there. We do want to warn you that there are scams going around that include people pretending to be student loan experts. Yeah, that's scary. The best advice, don't respond to people who reach out to you directly. Instead, contact the education department. Make sure you're reaching the official department there. A new report from the FTC shows consumers reported losing more than $12.5 billion to fraud last year, people's hard-earned money. That's a 25% increase over the prior year. Right now, the FTC says hundreds of complaints are coming in about a spam caller claimed to be named Jessica. Jessica claims to be with a loan processing center looking for personal information. The Better Business Bureau says this type of scam is common.
Our Social Security numbers are very valuable to scammers, so giving up that information, unfortunately, could open you up to identity theft.
Authorities say it's always important to report a scam to help them shut it down and to help make sure that others avoid it. Airbnb making a change to its platform. It will now show the total price for your booking, including fees and taxes by default. This is a change from the default displaying prices based off the nightly rate only. The changes come ahead of new federal rules that go into effect next month. FTC announced those rules late last year that ban hotels and short-term rental companies from including hidden junk fees. That's going to do it for us. Remember, always email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. We'll try to help you out. Thank you for joining us here. We'll see you next time.